Have you noticed something different about your loved one? Maybe your grandmother, who once loved to cook, barely touches her food anymore. Or your father, who used to greet you with a warm smile, now seems distant, lost in his thoughts. Perhaps your mother, who was always strong and independent, suddenly needs help getting up from her chair. Or your grandfather, who used to tell the best stories, now struggles to remember details. At first, these changes seem small, just part of getting older. But what if they're not? What if they're silent messages from the body, signals that time is running out? The truth is, death in old age rarely happens suddenly. Most of the time, the body begins preparing for its final chapter months, sometimes even a year, before life comes to an end. The problem is, these signs are quiet at first. They don't seem urgent. They don't come with warnings. And that's why many families only recognize them when it's too late, when they look back and realize the clues were there all along. But you don't have to wait until it's too late. In this video, we'll walk through 10 signs that an elderly loved one may be in their final year. Some of them might be things you've already noticed but brushed off as normal aging. Others might be more subtle, changes that seem small but actually signal the body's slow decline. Recognizing these signs early gives you something invaluable: the chance to prepare, to offer comfort, and to make sure their final days are filled with love, peace, and dignity. Now, this isn't about fear, it's about understanding. Not everyone will experience all 10 signs, and having one or two doesn't mean the end is near. But if you notice several appearing together, it may be time to pay closer attention, to be more present, to create meaningful moments, to say the words that matter while there is still time. This isn't an easy conversation, but it is an important one, because when we understand what's happening, we can make sure that the people who raised us, who held us when we were young, who gave us love and guidance, are surrounded by that same love in their final days. So stay with us until the end, because these 10 signs could help you make the most of the time you have left with the ones who mean the most. Let's begin. Sign number 1, noticeable weight loss and appetite decline. Have you observed your loved one's clothes fitting looser? Do they pick at their food, barely eating half of what's on their plate? A sudden or steady weight loss can be a telltale sign that something is changing. Often, as an elderly person enters their final year, their appetite diminishes. They might say, "I'm just not hungry," or skip meals altogether. This isn't just about eating habits, it's the body's way of slowing down. They may crave only very small portions or specific comfort foods. You might notice staples of their diet, like their morning coffee or favorite dessert, no longer interest them. The weight loss can be quite visible over a few months. A once plump face might look more sunken, or a belt might need new holes to stay up. Why does this happen? Toward the end of life, the body often no longer processes food the same way, and the sensation of hunger fades. Significant weight loss can lead to weakness and make them more prone to infections, so don't ignore it. If you notice this, gently encourage small, frequent meals or their favorite foods in tiny portions. Sometimes a little ice cream or a bowl of soup can get calories in without forcing a big meal. Most importantly, let their doctor know about the weight loss. There may be underlying causes like difficulty swallowing or medication side effects. But even when it's just the body's natural decline, the doctor can guide you on nutritional support options. The goal isn't to fatten them up in their final months. It's to ensure they're getting enough to stay comfortable and maintain strength for as long as possible. Sign number 2, extreme fatigue and sleeping more. Does Grandpa seem to doze off halfway through the day every day? Perhaps your mom, who used to wake at 7 a.m. sharp, now sleeps until late morning and still needs an afternoon nap. An elderly person in their final year often experiences overwhelming fatigue. They're truly tired, not just a little worn out, but bone-deep exhaustion that makes even simple activities a challenge. In the final stages of life, it's common for the body to conserve energy. They may sleep longer at night and nap frequently during the day. You might notice conversations with them get shorter because they say, "Sorry, I'm just tired." And they might drift to sleep even mid-sentence or while watching TV. This increase in sleep is the body's way of coping with internal changes. Think of it like a phone on low battery. It goes into power-saving mode. They're not being lazy or indifferent. They truly don't have the energy they once did. So if you notice a loved one sleeping more and feeling constantly drained, don't dismiss it as just old age. Instead, help them adjust. Make sure their resting places are comfortable, extra pillows, a soft blanket. When they're awake, engage with them in calm, unrushed ways. And if they fall asleep while you're talking, try not to take it personally. They likely value your presence even if they can't stay awake for long. This is the time to be present. Hold their hand, sit with them. Let them know that when they wake up, they won't be alone. Sign number 3, chronic or worsening pain. Maybe your dad has arthritis and you've heard him groan about his knees for years, but lately his pain seems different, constant, more intense, or in new places. If an elderly loved one is frequently mentioning pain or discomfort that's escalating, it could be a sign they're in their final year of life. Why is this happening? As we age, aches and pains are normal, but as the end of life nears, underlying health issues often intensify. Arthritis pain may flare up more. An undetected condition, like advancing neuropathy, could be worsening, or the body's threshold for pain changes as overall strength diminishes. If you notice your loved one wincing, rubbing sore spots, or groaning more often, don't ignore it. Talk to their doctor about pain relief options. It might be time for stronger medications or comfort-focused treatments. At this stage, the goal isn't curing the pain, it's managing it so they can be comfortable. A well-managed pain plan can help them stay engaged in life longer. Your loved one deserves to spend their time free from unnecessary suffering. Sign number 4, difficulty breathing or shortness of breath. Have you noticed your loved one getting winded from just walking to the kitchen? Or maybe you hear them panting or gasping lightly even while sitting still. Any new or worsening issues with breathing can be a significant warning sign that they're in their final year. In late life, it's common for the heart and lungs to weaken. This can lead to a condition called dyspnea, which is just a fancy word for difficulty breathing. You might see it as shortness of breath after very light activity, like just getting up from a chair, or even at rest. Sometimes folks experience changes in their breathing pattern, especially during sleep. Have you heard of the death rattle or Cheney-Stokes breathing? Those are very end-of-life breathing patterns. But even months before that, you might catch subtle signs, a gentle wheeze, or them needing to sit up more upright in bed to breathe better. Now, not every short breath means the end is near. Seniors can have asthma or COPD or just get winded. But if breathing issues are new, frequent, or noticeably worse, it's time to pay attention. Maybe Grandpa used to walk to the mailbox fine, but now he stops halfway, clutching his chest, huffing and puffing. That's a change to not ignore. Their body could be signaling that it's struggling to get enough oxygen as systems slow down. So what can you do? First, inform their doctor about these breathing changes. There might be medications or therapies to help. Some people keep an emergency oxygen supply at home or use inhalers to open airways. Secondly, ensure their environment helps them breathe. Keep the room cool and well ventilated. Use extra pillows to prop them up at night. And when you see them gasping or struggling, stay calm. Your calm presence can prevent panic, which only makes breathing harder. You might say softly, "Take your time, I'm right here." Sometimes just holding their hand and encouraging slow breaths can help them relax. Watching someone you love struggle for air is scary, but being prepared, knowing this can happen near the end, helps you stay level-headed and supportive. It might be a sign to also discuss with doctors or hospice nurses about comfort-focused care. They often have ways to ease that breathlessness, whether through medication or positioning. The key is, don't ignore those small gasps and catching breaths. It's your cue to step in with care and get help if needed. Sign number 5, social withdrawal and loss of interest. This one can be subtle and easily mistaken for depression or just old-fashioned grumpiness, but it's often deeper than that. Imagine an outgoing grandparent who loved holiday gatherings, now preferring to stay in their room with the door slightly closed. Or a parent who used to call you every day, now rarely picks up the phone. When an elderly person pulls back from social activities and hobbies, it could be a sign that they feel the final chapter approaching. As people near the end of life, they often start to detach from the world. This can be due to low energy, like we discussed earlier. But it's not just physical. Emotionally, they may begin to prepare themselves and unintentionally you for saying goodbye. It's a gradual retreat, skipping club meetings, then church services, then even family birthdays. You might notice they don't watch their favorite TV show anymore, or they stop tinkering in the workshop or gardening, activities that once lit them up. It's like their spirit is slowly turning inward. It's important to understand this withdrawal isn't about you. Your loved one isn't mad or losing love for the family. They're likely coming to terms with their own life and mortality. Many elders in their final months say they just don't have the drive to socialize or pursue interests. They may also not want to burden others with their decline, so they retreat. It can hurt. You want them to engage, to fight on, but often this inward focus is a natural part of the dying process. So what should you do if you see this sign? Don't force them to go out. Instead, meet them where they are. If they want to stay home, offer to sit with them for a while. Maybe listen to their favorite music together or look through an old photo album. Engage them in low-key ways. A quiet afternoon puzzle or just being present in comfortable silence can mean the world. Let them know it's okay. We can skip the big gathering. I'd rather be here with you anyway. That reassurance can relieve any guilt they feel about withdrawing. Also, keep inviting them gently. They might say no many times, but the invitation itself shows you care. And sometimes on a good day, they will feel up to joining for a short while. Those moments will be precious, but if they choose to remain withdrawn, respect it. It might be how they conserve energy and cope emotionally. Just make sure they never feel abandoned or forgotten. A loving presence, even one-on-one, can combat the loneliness that sometimes comes with this withdrawal. Sign number 6, increased confusion or cognitive decline. Have you noticed your loved one forgetting things more often, struggling to follow conversations, or seeming disoriented in familiar places? Maybe they suddenly forget names, lose track of time, or even get confused about where they are. These subtle cognitive changes can happen months or even a full year before death. This isn't just everyday forgetfulness. The brain, like any other organ, requires a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients to function properly. But as circulation weakens and oxygen supply to the brain decreases, cognitive function starts to decline. Your loved one may become easily confused, have difficulty making decisions, or struggle to recognize people and places they've known for years. In some cases, they may have brief moments of clarity, followed by sudden episodes of confusion, almost as if their mind is fading in and out. Another common sign? Emotional withdrawal. They may stop engaging in conversations, seem detached from loved ones, or simply sit in silence for long periods. It's not that they don't care, it's that their brain is no longer processing emotions the same way. This can be one of the hardest changes to witness. Watching a loved one lose touch with reality can feel like losing them before they're actually gone. So what can you do? Patience is key. Instead of saying, "Don't you remember?" gently reorient them with simple, reassuring words. If they call you by the wrong name or forget what day it is, don't correct them harshly. Instead, try, "That's okay, Mom. It's Tuesday, and I'm here with you." Keep their environment familiar. Favorite music, familiar scents, and photos from the past can help ground them. Most importantly, don't take their confusion personally. Even if they don't recognize you in a moment of fog, deep down, they still feel your love. Sign 7. Frequent infections and slow healing. Has your loved one started getting sick more often? Maybe they're catching colds easily, or a simple bruise or cut is taking weeks to heal. As the body begins to wind down, the immune system weakens. You might notice they now seem to catch every small infection that goes around. What used to be minor illnesses now take much longer to recover from, and simple wounds, like a small cut or a bruise, heal at a noticeably slower rate. One of the biggest concerns? Repeated infections. Conditions like pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, skin infections, and even oral infections become much more common. Many families assume these are just isolated illnesses, but when they start happening frequently, it's often a sign that the body's losing its ability to fight back. Even antibiotics, which once worked quickly, may seem less effective, and recovery times become longer and longer. So what can you do? Instead of focusing on aggressive medical treatment, consider shifting the goal to comfort and quality of life. Make sure they stay hydrated, keep their skin clean, and moisturize. Minimize stress on the body. At a certain point, the focus may shift from curing to comforting. And that's okay. Sign 8. Loss of bladder or bowel control, 1300 to 1430. Sign number 8. Loss of bladder or bowel control. This can be one of the most challenging changes for both seniors and their caregivers. It often starts subtly. Perhaps they rush to the bathroom more frequently, or accidents begin happening at night. Over time, they may struggle to control their bladder and bowels, or lose awareness of when they need to go. Why does this happen? As the body weakens, the muscles that control these functions start to deteriorate. Sometimes medications or underlying conditions, like dementia, can make things worse. For many elderly individuals, this can feel embarrassing and frustrating. They might avoid asking for help or try to hide accidents out of shame. So what can you do? First, approach the situation with kindness. Never shame them or make them feel bad about it. Instead, offer practical solutions, protective undergarments that are comfortable and discreet, placing a bedside commode so they don't have to walk far at night, a gentle toilet schedule to help reduce accidents. Your reassurance can make all the difference. A simple, "It's okay, let's get you comfortable," can help them feel respected and cared for. Sign number 9, saying goodbye or spiritual readiness. Not all end-of-life signs are physical. Some are emotional and even spiritual. You might notice your loved one talking about seeing deceased relatives, or they may start saying things like, "I'm ready to go," or "I've made peace with everything." Some may suddenly become interested in faith or spirituality, while others may simply want closure with family members. Another sign? Giving away personal belongings. Maybe grandma suddenly hands you an old locket and says, "I want you to have this." Or grandpa starts talking about funeral arrangements. It can be difficult to hear, but this is often their way of preparing themselves and you for the next chapter. So what can you do? Let them talk. Don't shut down the conversation out of discomfort. Reassure them. Let them know they are loved and not alone. Encourage visits from family and close friends. This is a time for reflection, connection, and closure. Embrace it with love and understanding. Sign number 10, a drastic decline in physical function. This is one of the clearest signs that the body is shutting down. You may notice they can no longer walk without help, struggle to sit up or move on their own, lose interest in eating and drinking altogether, spend most of the day asleep. At this point, their body is conserving all remaining energy to focus on the most essential functions. You may also notice their hands and feet feel cold to the touch. Their skin turns pale or bluish. Their breathing becomes slow and shallow. So what can you do? This is the time to focus on comfort. Keep their room peaceful and quiet. Ensure they are clean, dry, and warm. Talk to them even if they don't respond. Play soft music or hold their hand. Even if they can't speak, they can still hear you and feel your presence. This is a time to simply be there. If you've made it this far, take a deep breath. I know this wasn't an easy video to watch. Talking about losing the people we love is never easy, but it's something we all face sooner or later. The people who raised us, our parents, our grandparents, the ones who held our hands when we took our first steps, who stayed up late when we were sick, who sacrificed so much to give us a better life. One day we will have to say goodbye to them. And when that time comes, the greatest gift we can give them is love, not fear, not regret, just love, presence, and care. Let's take a moment to remember why we're here. Maybe you're already seeing some of these signs in someone you love. Maybe you're scared. Maybe you're wondering how much time is left. No one can say for sure. But what we can do is be there. We can make sure that when our parents, our grandparents, our loved ones take their final journey, they are not alone. We can make sure they leave this world with dignity, in the arms of family, with the warmth of love surrounding them. So if you found this video helpful, please like this video, not just for us, but so that more people can learn how to care for their loved ones in this precious time. And if you want to be better prepared for the journey ahead, if you want more guidance on caring for aging parents and grandparents, please subscribe to this channel. Because when we understand what's happening, we can replace fear with compassion. We can replace helplessness with action. We can replace loneliness with love. Cherish every moment. Tell them you love them today. Hold their hand a little longer. Listen to their stories, even the ones you've heard 100 times, because one day we will long to hear those stories again. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself and take care of them.